Yo estaba así. Y me ha dado en el medio de la nariz, chico. Un esparramo de nariz, señor juez, que yo me sentí las dos ventanas así aquí. Primera vez que yo mismo me vuelo las orejas. Mira que me la...
¿Y usted paró el golpe con el guante?
Sí, ¿con qué?
Con el guante.
Con la nariz, lo parece, chico. Entonces terminó el primer round, salimos para el segundo, Rudecindo no hacía más que gritarme a mí. Amaga con la izquierda y dale con la derecha. Amaga con la izquierda y dale con la derecha. Y parece que el contrario oía eso y era lo que hacía el otro.
Ah, sí.
Lo hacía primero que yo, y me agarraba con la izquierda y me daba con la derecha. Pero a pesar de eso, óyeme, al contrario mío, yo no sé, me puso más duro.
¿Y eso por qué?
Porque yo no me daba con ninguna de las dos, chico. Eso era una cosa.
Con la dos.
Con la guardia baja, ¿verdad? Me daba.
Bueno, venga acá. ¿Y cómo le fue en el tercer round?
En el tercer round, sí. ¿Cuándo?
En el tercer round.
Bueno, en el tercero yo me dediqué entonces a esquivar los golpes, ¿no? Veía que no me amagaba, yo corría para aquella esquina, y la gente me gritaba de afuera, ¡oh, una bicicleta! ¡Uy, María! Había uno grande que me daba piñazos en los pies. Oye, hasta que por fin ya me arrinconó en una esquina y entonces ya yo no tuve más remedio que partirle para arriba como una fiera.
A su contrario.
A la lona le partí para arriba. Me acosté lo mejor que pude, oye, pero tuve mala suerte. Me saltó la campana. No me quedó más remedio que salir a pelear en el cuarto.
¿Y qué tal le fue en el cuarto round?
Bueno, ahí ya me pude defender algo mejor, ¿tú sabes?
Sí.
Pues cuando el contrario me partía para arriba, yo me abrazaba.
A su contrario.
Le cogí un cariño siempre.
No, al contrario. Al contrario.
No, al referee. Y en ese round el referee no tuvo que trabajar nada más que la mitad.
¿Y la mitad por qué?
Porque en vez de separar a dos, nada más que tenía que separar a uno, a mí nada más.
¿No le llamó la atención? ¿No le llamó la atención?
¿Quién?
¿El referí?
No, me llamó una pila de cosas, pero la atención no...
Hágame el favor. ¿Y qué pasó en el quinto?
Bueno, ya en el quinto ya usé una táctica nueva.
Sí.
Me puse a dar vueltas alrededor de mi contrario, procurando que el referee siempre quedara en el medio, ¿sabes?
No me diga. Dejaba usted al referee en el medio.
En el medio, sí.
¿Y
Oye,
qué? En el medio estaba él.
Sí, no, claro que sí. Si no hacía eso, el otro me daba.
¿Y qué? ¿El otro no pudo noquearlo?
No pudo... Sí, bueno, pero yo perdí por noquear.
Sí.
Porque al terminar el quinto round, ya hice así pan y me fui para la
¿Y
esquina.
eso no era lo que tenía que hacer?
¿Qué cosa?
Dice para la esquina del ring.
Sí, pero yo no me fui para la esquina del ring.
¿Y para qué esquina se fue entonces?
Para la esquina de la bodega me estaba tomando yo que...
No me diga. ¿Suspendió usted la pelea?
No, la pelea no la suspendí. Lo que hice fue que le di los guantes a Rudecindo y le dije, ahora te toca a ti. Amágale con la izquierda y dale con la derecha, como dices tú, a ver qué pasa.
Pero entonces abandonó usted la pelea.
No, chico, el que la abandonó fue Rudecindo.
¿Cómo Rudecindo?
No quedamos en que esa pelea Rudecindo y yo íbamos a media.
Sí.
Bueno, yo había boxeado 5 rounds, ahora le tocaba a él los otros 5. Claro.
Escriba ahí, secretario.
Venga la sentencia.
No está muy clara su idea, mas lo cierto es que el gallego lo enredó en una pelea que un verdadero juego. Y como esa es la verdad y yo justicia aquí brindo, no le paga así y vaya a su libertad.
Escucha el siguiente programa de La Tremenda Corte con Leopoldo Fernández, Miguel y Aníbal de Mar por esta emisora. Hasta entonces, Manolo Iglesias que les habla les dice, muy buena suerte, amigos.
A continuación, el texto íntegro de la carta abierta de denuncia en la voz de su redactor, José Daniel Ferrer, líder de la Unión Patriótica de Cuba, debido al aumento de la represión en la isla, los riesgos de contagio por coronavirus a que están expuestos todos los ciudadanos y la miseria absoluta que sufre el pueblo de Cuba.
De cerrar filas contra los contagios por coronavirus, la represión y la miseria. Hoy, mientras creemos que aún estamos a tiempo, tenemos la responsabilidad de alertar e intentar proteger a nuestro pueblo ante la tendencia al agravamiento de una crisis que puede convertirse en una tragedia nacional de proporciones inmanejables. Denunciamos ante la comunidad internacional la intensificación de la represión por parte de las autoridades de la dictadura y el consecuente aumento del riesgo de contagio de COVID-19 para los ciudadanos que esta práctica conlleva. Alertamos sobre el peligro para la vida y la seguridad de nuestro pueblo por el desabastecimiento y la ausencia de condiciones sanitarias de los lugares públicos, incluidos los hospitales y centros de internamiento, debido a la inacción, la corrupción y la negligencia de quienes detentan el poder en Cuba. En los últimos días, en la medida en que aumenta el número de personas contagiadas por el coronavirus y de fallecidos por esta peligrosa enfermedad en Cuba, el régimen castrocomunista incrementa las acciones represivas contra opositores pacíficos, prisioneros políticos, defensores de los derechos humanos, periodistas independientes y contra todo el que exponga la alarmante realidad que se vive en medio de la escasez y la crisis en torno al COVID-19. La represión aumenta cada hora. Muchos activistas, pero también ciudadanos no organizados, han sido detenidos, amenazados, despojados de sus celulares e incluso agredidos físicamente y llevados a prisión por las autoridades por tomar una foto o hacer una publicación en redes sociales. La dictadura emplea el artículo 68 del Decreto Ley 370, que considera una infracción difundir a través de las redes públicas información contraria al interés social, la moral, las buenas costumbres y la integridad de las personas. Por todo el país se agrava el ya crónico desabastecimiento de alimentos y productos de primera necesidad, mientras la dictadura persigue e impone prohibiciones a los cuentapropistas. Los cubanos deben realizar largas filas que se convierten en aglomeraciones masivas para adquirir lo poco que los mercados estatales ofertan, por lo que es prácticamente imposible cumplir medidas elementales para evitar el contagio. El transporte público está paralizado. La mayoría tiene que recorrer kilómetros y más kilómetros a pie, buscando lo indispensable para sobrevivir. Todo tiende a agravarse con el paso de los días. Mientras la vida se torna cada vez más difícil, el régimen, que controla todos los medios de comunicación masiva, con mentiras y propaganda trata de generar una falsa y peligrosa sensación de seguridad entre los cubanos, a la vez que manipula y exagera las noticias sobre los problemas que enfrentan otras naciones con gobiernos críticos del castrismo. Especialmente indignantes son las condiciones en que se encuentran nuestros presos políticos y las acciones en su contra en momentos en que sus vidas corren mayor peligro. Hoy son víctimas de confinamiento en celdas de castigo, traslados a prisiones distantes de sus familiares, confiscación arbitraria de alimentos y productos de aseo y suspensión de las llamadas telefónicas, mientras el régimen obstaculiza la ayuda desde el exilio. A todo esto hay que sumar el hacinamiento, la pésima higiene y alimentación y la deficiente atención médica. Considerando lo anterior, exigimos la liberación inmediata de los más de 8.000 inocentes que, sin haber cometido delito, se encuentran condenados por peligrosidad predelictiva, en la liberación de todos los presos políticos. Ante el agravante de la pandemia del COVID-19 y la ausencia de condiciones sanitarias en las cárceles, la liberación urgente es lo justo y necesario, como ha pedido el secretario general de la OEA, Luis Almagro. Cuba necesita ayuda y queremos tomar la responsabilidad de solicitarla hoy a la comunidad internacional. urge que la sociedad civil independiente y todo cubano de buena voluntad demos de inmediato los pasos necesarios para crear mecanismos.
Sorry. 21980 Lima. Echo.
Y aliviar las dificultades y la miseria generalizada. Hacemos un llamado a la unidad del movimiento democrático cubano en la isla y la diáspora. Y pedimos el apoyo de la comunidad internacional para superar la crisis que atraviesa nuestro pueblo.
Han escuchado el texto íntegro de la carta de denuncia en la voz de su redactor, José Daniel Ferrer, líder de la Unión Patriótica de Cuba, debido al aumento de la represión en la isla, los riesgos de contagio por coronavirus a que están expuestos todos los ciudadanos y la miseria absoluta que sufre el pueblo de Cuba. Cabe destacar que esta carta la firman Berta Soler, de las Damas de Blanco, Ana Carbonell, del Instituto La Rosa Blanca, Manuel Silvestre Cuesta Morúa, del Partido Arco Progresista, José Díaz Silva, del Movimiento Opositores por una Nueva República, José Daniel Ferrer, Unión Patriótica de Cuba, CONPACU, René Gómez Manzano, de la Corriente Agramontista, Alejandro González Arraga, Observatorio Cubano de Derechos Humanos, José Pepe Hernández, Fundación Nacional Cubano-Americana, Iván Hernández Carrillo, Asociación Sindical Independiente de Cuba, Javier Larrondo, Cuban Prisoners Defender, Ángel Moya Acosta, Movimiento Libertad Democrática por Cuba, Félix Navarro, Partido por la Democracia, Pedro Luis Boitel, Eduardo Marcos Pacheco, Movimiento Recuperación Democrática, Ramón Saúl Sánchez, Movimiento Democracia, Rosa María Payá, Fundación para la Democracia Panamericana. También firman este documento Camila Acosta Rodríguez, Fran Calzón, Eduardo Díaz Pleitas, Damaso Alberto Fernández Adiós, Niober García Fournier, Elena Larrinaga, Librado Linares García, Ana Iris Miranda Leiva, Orlando Luis Pardo Lazo, Leticia Ramos Herrería, Omara Isabel Ruiz Urpiola, Ángel Santiesteban Prat y Didier Santos Moleiro. Para conocer más sobre esta denuncia, visite nuestros medios sociales o nuestra página radiotelevisiónmartí.com. Radio Martí, siempre contigo.
El Estado cubano, pese a las múltiples carencias que afectan al pueblo, no escatima en recursos, tanto humanos como financieros, para encerrar en su círculo mediático a los más de 11 millones de cubanos. Este cerco electrónico es roto día tras día por las señales de radio y televisión Martí. A continuación te mostramos algunos útiles consejos para mejorar la recepción de nuestra emisora. La mayoría de los radioreceptores poseen antenas telescópicas, o sea, antenas que se pueden alargar o retraer. Por muchos años hemos creído que mientras más extendida esté dicha antena, mejor será la recepción. Esto no es correcto. Las ondas de radio tienen una determinada longitud en dependencia de la frecuencia en que son transmitidas. Las frecuencias que ustedes más sintonizan por onda corta para Radio Martí son 6.030 kHz, banda de 49 metros, y la de 11.930 kHz, banda de 25 metros. Para esas frecuencias, la longitud de la antena en su radio debe ser de aproximadamente entre 36 y 38 centímetros de altura. O sea, que situando la antena en su radio, entre los 36 y 38 centímetros de longitud, tendremos una recepción mucho más clara y estable. Radio Martí también transmite las 24 horas del día en los 1180 kHz, en la onda media, para lo cual la altura óptima sería 25 centímetros. En los casos en que no dispongamos de una antena telescópica, esta puede ser sustituida por un alambre recto, preferentemente situado en exteriores entre las longitudes que mencionamos anteriormente. Siguiendo estos sencillos consejos del equipo técnico de Radio Martí, se mejorará la recepción de nuestra señal, aunque traten de... Radio Martí, siempre contigo.
Que nos escuchan en onda corta, les informamos que en breve podrán sintonizarnos en los 11.860, en los 11.930 y en los 13.605 kilohertz. Manténganse en sintonía con Radio Martí.
Centímetros. Continuando, simplificando. Y si sigo simplificando tendría 1 y aquí entonces tendría 6. Me voy a ir a otra hoja para tenerlo más claro. La representación sería, finalmente ya, 1 centímetro sobre 600 mil centímetros. Entonces,
Yeah, better go do that. Kilo Tango for Delta Foxtrot Lima. Roger, Darrell. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, it's great to see 10 meters open this morning. Some of the other bands are, I think they're rating a crapper this morning, but 10 seems to be doing good. Over.
Okay, then that's all right. Where'd you go?
Thanks for picking me up. I'm going to scan around the band here just a little bit. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. And hope we can talk again pretty soon. Once again, thanks for picking me up.
I do appreciate the cue, so over.
He's
got his wife's car and just got KT4, DFL, KK2, WW73, my friend. Take care.
I see. Everything going good this morning?
Yeah, going fairly well. Can't complain there. Got my lawn done yesterday. Woke up this morning and everything.
The November 4th station, go ahead.
Roger, my friend. You got a 57, 58 in Puerto Rico, my friend.
I urge you today to, unfortunately, it never lasts me too late. You know, ladies and gentlemen, the newspaper headlines across the land and around the nation, around the world have cried out the last couple of years about floods here on one side, famines on the other, drought on the other, AIDS, pestilence on the other. And the cry of the Christian church is what's happened to our God. How come we can't find fellowship? Where can we go to church? Why won't the preachers preach the truth? What's wrong? And God tells us right here, therefore the showers have been withholden. And there have been...
In addition to earlier drafts, the communique said the support measures being put in place by wealthier countries to shield their economies from the ravages of the pandemic. So they're just using the pandemic for everything. But it must be in line with central bank commitments to keep inflation stable. We must do that. We will continue to sustain the recovery, avoiding any premature withdrawal of support while remaining consistent with central bank mandates, including on price stability. Concerns have been rising recently that ultra-loose monetary policy in many countries follow the pandemic could unleash a surge of inflation. Ooh. Like it hasn't already.
We'll discuss inflation here in a little bit. We'll discuss it in a little bit. I've got two different uncles here that even the Fed's saying, yeah, it's going to be bad, but it's going to be temporary.
Yeah. But then they also, in this thing that's supposed to be about the tax, climate change will also be featured at the Venice talks, speaking at a climate tax forum there before the G20 meeting. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called for better international coordination to avoid trade frictions. She was speaking days before the European Union unveils next week a so-called carbon border adjustment mechanism. How about that? So the EU is going to unveil next week a so-called carbon border adjustment mechanism, CBAM, imposing levies. Well, they're going to impose levies on the carbon content of imported goods. The scheme is, that's right, the scheme is an attempt to discourage carbon leakage
the transfer of production to countries with less onerous emission restrictions, but some trading partners fear it could act as a protectionist tool, recognizing the different paths countries are taking to address climate change. Yeah, what countries are really addressing climate change other than talk? You tell me, except ours wanting to be electric vehicles by, 2025 or whatever it is. It's just...
So they're going to tell countries that they have to move the manufacturing plant to another country because other countries are not putting out as much carbon as you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're actually going to tell countries that they can't have those companies in their countries.
Well, that's what they say. Come on.
Think about that. Even the gall didn't mention that.
But so that's what they're doing. That's what the G20 chiefs of finance are doing in Venice this week and weekend.
Oh my gosh!
So it's just then you did mention Idaho, and that's another group of multinational corporations in there planning our future for us, and while they're trying to fight their way to space. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they're doing that because I made it 72 years without much of their help. I'm glad they're here to help me now.
I know. I understand. But that's pretty much all that you get. Oil prices are in flux. We saw it rise quite a bit today while OPEC and others just remain sort of deadlocked on supply. We see gold set. Let me pull this up here. I think I have it here. Anyway, gold was good today. We had a great day.
Yes, it was.
I was set for the third straight weekly gain, as we can continue to see a little bit of a pullback on the dollar. So it made bullion a little less expensive for those folks out there. So 1-800-375-4188. And that's pretty much all financial. There's tons out there, but I think that's is what affected most of the reports today.
You did. You did cover the court. And folks, now's the time to buy precious metals. Yeah, they're going to fluctuate some, but they're not going to go back down where they were 3 or 4 years ago. Forget about it. It ain't going to happen. But, the only way that could happen, Melody, is if everything, the finances went completely kaput and the dollar would just drop to nothing, then go and make them down price a little bit. But it'd still be worth more. It's 1,000 times worth what the dollar is in your pocket because the dollar's going to be worthless. You follow what I'm saying? So, folks, there's no way to lose on that. But I've got an article here I think is kind of interesting. I think it's some pretty good news. Japanese have found a way to take food scraps and turn it into material stronger than concrete. Now, that is a good idea. Why not? Most people don't think much about the food scraps they throw away. However, researchers in Tokyo have developed a new method to reduce food waste by recycling discarded fruit and vegetable scraps into robust construction materials. Worldwide industrial and household food waste amounts to hundreds of billions of pounds per year, a large proportion of which compromises edible scraps like fruit and vegetable peels. This unsustainable practice is both costly and environmentally unfriendly, so researchers have been searching for new ways to recycle these organic materials into useful products. Our goal was to use seaweed and common food scraps to construct materials that were at least as strong as concrete. But since we were using edible food waste, we're also interested in determining whether the recycling process impacted the flavor of the original materials. The flavor of the original materials, okay. The researchers borrowed a heat pressing concept that's typically used to make construction materials from wood powder, except they use vacuum-dried, pulverized food scraps such as seaweed, cabbage leaves, and orange, onion, pumpkin, and banana peels as a constituent powders. The processing technique involved mixing the food powder with water and seasonings. I get that. I like that, seasonings. And then pressing the mixture into a mold at high temperature. The researchers tested the bending strength of the resulting materials and monitored their taste, their smell, and appearance. I still can't get why they taste them, but anyway. With the exception of the specimen derived from pumpkin, all the materials exceeded our bending strength target. But I still don't understand why they worry about the smell and the taste. If you make them in the concrete, who cares what it tastes like? But I do think that's a great idea. Yeah, there's certainly billions of tons of scraps going out every day across the world. If they can take those and make something useful out of them, why not? That's a pretty smart idea, don't you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to do building materials, you certainly don't want it to give off an odor in the future.
Well, I wouldn't. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, taste it too, though. Why are they concerned about taste? Somebody going to nibble on the foundation?
Well, yeah, it could perhaps bring animals or bugs or something like that.
I mean, it's a marvelous idea. I just can't imagine why they're seeding it and then they're going to taste it. I just thought it was kind of amusing. That's all. Just a point to ponder. But the question here, this is a pretty good argument. Job openings are at record highs. Why aren't unemployed Americans filling them? Means Americans that say they can't find a job. I'm going to make a comment, Ellie. I don't know what kind of job I'm looking for. But around here, about every place I go, I mean, I'm talking about fast food, Lowe's, stores, are begging for workers. They can't.
Such as turn aside to lies. Done, and thy thoughts which are to usward. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered.
In the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, we come today asking for your divine anointing.
That you have us to be in these final days of time. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we pray you'll bind every evil spirit, every spirit of blindness that would cause men and women not to know.
Told us about it. We shouldn't be doing it. I don't care what the rest of them do. No one won't care what the rest of them do. We don't care.
This method is most effective on hot, sunny days and safely controls weeds without causing any collateral damage. Thank you for tuning in and love you for being veg and going green to save the planet, thus save the world. Now, the global weather.
forgive sins. Only God can forgive sins. And the God of all faith is the Father.
Tsammani hakan yayi a lokacin baya, lokacin yana nasa harkokin wasu har ma sai da wasu 'yan
Está buena, déjele buscarse la idea, buscarse la pesetita ahí como Dios quiere, como Dios manda. Nada, troquerito, alegría tenerte por acá, saludarte, buen día. Reparte limón por acá, los 7-3 para ti, todo en casita. Saludito los 18 camones, Chaito, oye. Dámele saludo ahí al coquino, dámele saludo a los muchachos de Chicago, lloradita. Le comienza a olla. Saludos a Pedrillo ahí. Dale, toquerito, chao. 73, chao.
Yo estoy copiando, quiero comer el culo callado. Oye, Blackie, si está copiando el coquimo, Blackie, saludos, 7-3, falta el coquimo, Mr. Blackie, oye.
Que afrentas de caballo.
Blackie, 7-3, falta el coquimo, estamos en la escucha. Muchas gracias.
¿Qué pasa, Flecha?
Como el cura de Robbie y el coquimo, tengo...
¿Flecha? A las 7 de la mañana, desde las 7 de la mañana, lo escucho yo comiendo buenos días, desde Ponce. Sí, oye, no se cansa ese muchacho.
Que está conmigo.
¡Flecha! La chocada se ha muerto. Vete, súbete, no, que esta gente está bien duro aquí. Sí, con gajapatas.
Ese Blackie está muerto, ese culo está jajado, el Blackie está jajado. Ese culo del Blackie está en el agua hace años, que está en el agua hace años, oye.
Todo lo chocado se ha muerto, todo lo chocado. Así no, Blackie, así no. Ha chocado. Make sure you got power supply too. Man, I didn't know you did. Sorry, my friend. I'm easy, just look it back.
down for about another 5 minutes on this radio, and I'm going to go out here and take this alternate off and put this new alternate on my truck, and I'll be...
Yeah, I heard you coming back to me there, that dirty South always got my ears right about now. But I'll get sure he comes back to me, no doubt about it. Green Machine's going to be back listening.
All solid state.
It's gone through hurricanes and stuff like that, so I'm kind of really happy with that hex beam. Also using a vertical, I have a big stepper vertical and a G5RV, which does not work as well as the hex beam does on 10 meters. Yeah, it goes up and down pretty good. We had a thunderstorm earlier yesterday, and propagation has been doing pretty good for 10 the last month or so. I've even heard a smattering of 6 meters in there. I've worked 10-meter FM, and I've worked a lot of simplex on 10-meter, let's see here, 29600. Yeah, I've worked about 10-15 contacts on 10 meters every other week, but today I turned it on, man, it was active. I was down there on the 28400. It's very, very active. So, probably work down there to the CW portion of the band, see what's going on.
I'll let you take more calls. Nice hearing you again, and I'll try to hear you again soon down the walk. 973, and have yourself a good day. Bye, my friend. Take care. 73. The other station, Kilo Charlie.
Cruzando la charca. Buenos días, Limón, también. Saludos también de parte mía por acá por el 73.
Ahí el cochero por acá. Cordiales saludos, apreciados.
Tú eres mío, caballo, tú eres mío.
Todo bien por acá. ¿Cómo amaneció Arecibo, oye?
Caballo. Amaneció llovinando ahí, llovinando, el campo, sale el sol, vuelve y llueve, y así estamos por acá, ya tú sabes. Y mucho humedad y mucha calor tempranito en la mañana, oye, pero está todo bien. Todo QSL en el QTH y en los alrededores, ¿cómo está?
Ay, gracias a Dios, todo bien por allá. Por acá estamos igual, soleado, caliente, húmedo. Temperaturas bastante altas ya en esta mañanita por acá, Blacky. Y copiándote ahí como una bomba por acá.
Hacía tiempo no dábamos para la isla, desde el estado de la Florida. Por lo menos se abrieron condiciones hoy un poquito ahí. Nada, sí, no, hay buenas condiciones hoy, hay buenas condiciones hoy, están empezando a comenzar a subir ahí. Están empezando a subir y desde las condiciones más floridas y ahora se están poniendo mejores, ya tú sabes. Saludito ahí, Mr. Limón, buenos días, 7-3, tu amigo el Blacky desde Arecibo, Puerto Rico, te saluda, Roger. Dale, pues quedamos por acá en la orillita también, continúa con los muchachos de Chicago, que te estoy oyendo ahí. Vacilando hace rato, te estoy escuchando vacilando por ahí. 7-3, saludos a todos. Saludos, 7-3, limoncito suelto por aquí. Sigan por ahí, chao. Hablamos, Limón, cuídate, buen día. Y saludos también a Pate Grillo, buen día, quedamos pendientes. Este es el Black desde Arecibo, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Pechadito. ¿Qué tal, chica, Black y ahí está enfrentado. Le encantó su voz.
Leche caballo, Chaita.
Mucha leche caballo.
Marico.
Azúcar.
Leche blanca, todos los que están por ahí también.
Ahí le encantó azúcar. Soportable. Salud.
The 3 P's, plum, please, and pleasure, to our communicating with you on this day.
Good morning, hard time judge on the corner, baby.
Buenos días, gracias ahí por recogerme, saludarme, esperamos que estés bien por allá por casita, escuchando, estando por acá lo que hacemos, escuchando ahí, saludando, oye. 4-7-3, para trabajar un poquito con la ovación ahí, 7-3. Mr. Limón, doctor, lo estoy pasando bien por ahí, Mr. Limón, aquí ya tú sabes, calentando la verticalita ahí. Verticalita, muchacha, verticalita. Tiene casi 40 más. La verticalita tiene casi 40 por acá. Eri, yo no tengo ni el cuadro, ya tú sabes. Ya tú sabes para qué. Esto, te voy a poner un galcito de Javier. Tengo que poner un galcito de Javier. Ok, está. Eso es así, Mr. Limón. Ave María, pues está subiendo las condiciones, Mr. Limón. Aquí está calentando. Un filamento rodado ya. Suavecito, sereno y tropical ya. No sé qué hiciste ahí. Ahí subiste más. Limón. el del pepino continúa. Gracias, ahí. Tato, que están poniendo brazos. Oye, si el limón pues nada. Alegría escucharte, mi alegría escucharte en ese limón. Seguimos por aquí, ya tú sabes. Calentándole strike el 955. Calentándole strike el 955. Chamito el limón, vaya. Dale,
but that's the way it is. Using a hex beam and an Icon 7300 and 100 watts. Back to you. Let's see if you get in a little better. I guess it faded out. Yeah, the band is up and down. It's fading. I heard everything you said, though. Let me see what I can do, but I don't know if it's going to work. By the time I get that in there, it's probably the band is going to drop out. It's worth a shot. Give it a try.
Greetings from... November 5.
We've been getting quite a bit of
short skip here lately. At times last night it was worked Bermuda, then I ended up working into Nova Scotia yesterday. Wait a minute, was it? Nova Scotia. So anyway, worked those two areas last night. They're on 10 meters. Jim, go ahead. What's going to happen is we're going to lose a lot of this. We won't get so much short skip probably after the middle of August. We probably won't get so much. We'll probably get we're going to get long skip. We'll probably the middle of September we'll start getting, long skip like Africa and Europe and those places. So we're probably going to get some of that. If the sunspot keeps up here, if it stays up, we'll probably get that. That's probably what we're going to get here in September. I think we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see a lot of Europe and a lot of Africa, probably other parts of the world, Southeast Asia, that kind of part thing. So we're going to see others. Things will be happening on here, I'm pretty sure. Go ahead. Yeah, cloudy, and we're expecting thunder showers up here. We're supposed to get cloudy weather right here today. It's not a nice, not a real nice day up here. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, it's supposed to be tomorrow. I think we're going to be in the 70s today, but tomorrow, I think we're going to go back up into the 80s here the next few days. It's supposed to be 85 tomorrow, according to what I heard. We're going to be expecting in the 80s, mid 80s tomorrow. So yeah, she's gonna warm back up again. Yeah, we're gonna get it. It's gonna be 70. I think 76. I think today. Supposed to be in the 70s tomorrow. Today, and then 80s tomorrow. So it's good. It's warm. It's gonna warm up. We had 70s yesterday. We were on 70, I think, between 70 and 75 yesterday, and it's been a little bit cooler. Sunday was in the 60s. Actually, it was like what 63, 64, something like that. It was up there on Sunday, and we were getting rain just about all day. Go ahead. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I like the cooler weather myself. I don't mind that. I don't mind it when it gets warm a little bit, but then I'd like to go back down on the heat. I'd like to get back in the cooler weather. I prefer the cooler over the heat. At least you can, move around in that. It gets hot, then you got to go in, and then you want the air conditioning. At least I do. I'm glad I've got air conditioning in the house here. I've only had it for like 7 years in the house here. Had electricity.
We're back to Sunday Afternoon Convention, Melody. Listen to this one. This is unbelievable, but it's real. Hong Kong parking space. Guess how much it costs in Hong Kong to buy a parking space?
$2.
Yeah, really. $1.53 million. I'm not making this up. In Hong Kong, every inch of land is...
At least it's real, Butch, and not a virtual parking space.
Yeah, you can at least hold a car on it, yeah. In Hong Kong, every inch of land is as expensive as gold. Parking spaces can sell for as much as you would pay for a luxury home. Recently, a Mount Nicholson parking space sold for $1.53 million. The same cost for a two-bedroom flat in Takushing, a private residential development in Hong Kong. In May, Hong Kong's Mount Nicholson luxury property began selling their car parking spaces at strata residents at condo and townhouse developments by offering to the highest bidder at a minimum price. Now listen to this, Mark Melody. A minimum price, the price bid of $1.13 million. That's a minimum. Each household can be allotted an average of 1 or 2 parking spaces with a maximum of 3 spaces. Records show that a total of 22 transactions have been registered so far, with buyers including celebrities and tycoons from China and Hong Kong. So to park your car in Hong Kong and have a parking space reserved is going to cost you some money. And that's just so far out of our imagination in this country. I mean, the minimum price accepted at these real estate developments is $1.13 million. Well, there you go, Melody.
I'll take 2.
You take 2, all right. I guess I'll chip in for one with you then.
Okay.
But that we look at that and we think it's absurd, and then it is, I guess. But in Hong Kong, I guess it's something that is normal. I mean, you just can't afford places, and I have to wonder how low does a lower class have to live in Hong Kong? I mean, what did they do? How did they survive? If they can't even afford a house, I mean, I just wonder about that. That's outrageous prices. How did they live?
On top of one another.
I would reckon so. And you were blessed for the storm missing you, but it didn't miss New York City. Commuters.
They had a storm go through prior to Elsa. They got flooded out with the prior storm. Mm.
Oh, it didn't say that here, but okay. But the commuters swim, and I saw this on video. This is real. Commuters swim in subways, and drivers rescued from cars as storm Elsa sweeps up the East Coast, bringing floods to New York City.
even though they typically
Commuters were forced to swim in subway stations, and drivers were rescued from the extent.
Access to this space so our crews can abate this lot. Even though they are not here with us today, I want to also thank Councilmember McDuffie and Commissioner Pinckney, who continue to work with our department to strengthen the Ward 5 business community and to ensure the very best quality of life for its residents. Graffiti undermines the efforts the government, businesses, and residents make to keep communities clean and to ensure the very best safe. While we recognize and appreciate the graffiti art form and the many local artists who are part of this culture, if someone paints something on property without the owner's permission, it's vandalism, and vandalism is a crime. It's also costly. DPW spends nearly $500,000 each year in its effort to remove graffiti tags and stickers from walls. We are asking residents to help us keep our corridors graffiti free. If your property does get tagged, please call 311 to have it removed so that it doesn't invite more graffiti. Before we begin, I want to extend my gratitude to our graffiti abatement team led by Ace Brodus. This small crew is responsible for keeping walls clean from graffiti throughout the district. After last summer's civil rights demonstrations, Ace and his team worked around the clock to clean graffiti from DC's business corridors and restore its walls as much as possible to their original condition.
Mother Nature throws a whammy at you. She can pretty much compare West Carolina. And I thought that's kind of interesting. I'm just looking at it, still one that's going to work. Approved wildlife crossings in Southern California, Santa Cruz will cost millions of dollars. Now, listen, this is interesting. More than 30,000 collisions between vehicles and wayward wildlife have occurred in California highways since 2015. Threatening species already considered to be at risk and causing more than $1 billion in damage, according to 2018 data collected by Kyle Matters and Road Ecology Center at the University of California, Davis. A new budget approved by state lawmakers last week plans to support the construction of the Liberty Canyon Wildlife Crossing, a tunnel stretching above Highway 101 to Agora Hills that would provide animals such as mountain lions, coyotes, deer, and elk with a safe way to travel across freeways, cutting through their natural habitats. Costing $7 million, with another $54.5 million allotted for even more animal-friendly overpasses and underpasses across the state. The corridor would help bolster populations of at-risk species by helping them to find mates, Cal Matters reported Tuesday. Now, I'm not real sure what they have in mind to get this to work, but how will the animals know that these are there and what to do with them? Is that a silly question?
I don't know.
I mean, are they going to block off the highway so they have to go through these tunnels? I mean, how are they going to know they should go up the road a couple miles and go into the road? I'm just curious about that. I don't know. I mean, put up signs, say this way, please, or I don't know. But that's a lot of money going into the road system.
Maybe they'll use the deer crossings. Deer crossing.
There you go. But I really wonder about that. I mean, the elk and mountain lions generally don't mix too well, and coyotes don't either, but they're all going to pass through these overpasses. But I'm curious to know how they're going to keep them from coming on the highway. How are they going to know to go through those underpasses, not overpasses?
I don't know.
I just thought maybe you might have an answer to that.
No, for once I don't.
Oh, my goodness, I stumped her once this year already. Wow. Wow. We laugh at that, but that, to me, makes sense. I'm going to have to do some more research. I want to know how this is supposed to work. I really do. I mean, we travel here in the hills of West Virginia. We have the highest, according to the statistics, the highest number of deer hit and run over in this state, any other state in the country. And we have lots of them. How would if they build an underpass or overpass on these mountain roads, how would the deer know to go to the overpass? I'm just curious about that. I don't know. And this is interesting. Hundreds of injured by COVID vaccines turn to GoFundMe for help with expenses. This is another thing I didn't see coming. The defender is experiencing censorship on many social. Anyway, they can't get this information out. They don't want it out. But high school senior Emma Berkey received a one-shot Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine April 1st. Within 2 weeks, she was placed in an induced coma. She underwent 3 brain surgeries after experiencing seizures and developing blood clots in her brain. When Berkey was well enough to be transferred from the hospital to a rehabilitation center, her first round of bills totaled $513,000. Friends of the 18-year-old family that turned to GoFundMe to raise money to help cover Berkey's mounting medical costs. As of July 7th, more than $59,000 have been raised. The family hopes that Berkey's medical costs will be covered by insurance, but that's unclear, as the cost of their daughter's medical care could run into millions of dollars. Right now, it feels like the national debt, a family spokesman said. It's so big you can't get your head around it. According to a recent update on Berkey's GoFundMe page, Berkey is still in intensive rehab, remains in a wheelchair, and when it was able to stand unassisted for the first time in July. Now, this is only one example. There were dozens of them in this article, and I'm sure more than they reported because there's been hundreds of them. But can you imagine over $500,000 already in debt with this medical bill, and she's still in intensive rehab in a wheelchair because of J&J vaccine. That's something to think about, folks. It really is. Before you jump up and take an experimental shot, you might want to think about it. Any comments, Melody?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a young high school senior. You know, they should have her whole life ahead of her with things to plan. But on the good side of this, Rand Paul to introduce legislation to repeal mask mandates on planes. Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky will introduce legislation to repeal the mask mandates on planes when the Senate session returns. The Senate returns to session, I would be introducing an immediate repeal of the mask mandate on planes. Enough. Time to start and let people travel in peace, Paul tweeted Thursday. And I agree with him 100%. And this is one of the reasons why. The FAA, and I didn't know FAA could fine private citizens. I didn't know they had that ability. But anyway, FAA fines an airline passenger more than $10,000 for refusing to wear masks. The Federal Aviation Administration announced Tuesday they had fined a passenger $10,500 refusing to wear a face mask during a February flight. In a press release, the agency said that the passenger had taken an Allegiant Air flight on February 27th, going to Provo, Utah, to Mesa, Arizona, and allegedly refused to wear the mask properly over both his nose and mouth. Flight attendants instructed him seven separate times to wear his face mask properly, and each time he moved it off of his nose right after the flight attendant walked away. When told they need to cooperate with and provide for information to fill out a passenger disturbance report, he argued with the flight attendant, refused to provide his ID, said he would continue to pull his face mask down, and claimed that it was just fine over the mouth. The FAA said after the flight touched down, the passenger walked up to the flight attendant from behind as she was about to open the door to the cabin and touched her. Doesn't say how or where. Asserting that she was being aggressive about the face mask policy, adding to the release, noting that the passenger's action made the attendant cry. Poor little thing cried. $10,500 for not wearing the mask properly. And that's from the FAA. Now, did you know the FAA could fine you? I didn't know that, did you?
I did not know.
So it's become another police force? Just curious. I mean, you know, that's what it boils down to, another regulatory force. And yeah. Ted Cruz introduced a bill banning feds maintaining vaccine database amid Biden's door-to-door outreach. Senator Ted Cruz is introducing a bill banning the federal government from maintaining a vaccine database amid President Joe Biden's door-to-door outreach across America to pressure citizens to take the coronavirus vaccine. When the Biden administration calls for targeted door-to-door outreach to get people vaccinated, it comes across as a G-man saying, "We know you're unvaccinated. Let's talk, comrade." My bill, Cruz continued, to ban federal vaccine passports, prohibit the feds from maintaining a vaccine database. And he said knocking on the door has never been against the law. And an American citizen don't have to answer. But we hope you do, said Becerra, reiterated the administration position. So this one guy says you don't have to answer the door. But as Cruz says, why are you not going to do it in the first place? It's not the role of the federal government, he says, to do these things. It's unethical for the government to be converting citizens into private health care decisions and invading their medical privacy. And they're right. Totally right. It's too much.
You know what's interesting? Yeah, but you know what's interesting? You know, the discussion about a database on all of these vaccinations all started in the Trump administration. There was rumors that there was one being created way back then.
Yeah. The people forgot that. That's true. One last article very quickly here. Black Lives Matter Utah chapter. Folks, this is so sad. This is so sad because it's going to cause problems beyond what we comprehend right now. Black Lives Matter Utah chapter D. American flag, symbol of hatred. The American flag is a symbol of hatred. The Black Lives Matter Utah chapter claimed in a Facebook post on July 4th. When we black Americans see this flag, we know the person flying it is not safe to be around. When we see this flag, we know the person flying it is a racist. When we see this flag, we know that the person flying it lives in a different America than we do. When we see this flag, we question your intelligence. We know to avoid you. It's a symbol of hatred. In a subsequent post on Monday, the chapter urged people not to misunderstand them regarding the initial statement, writing, "We do not want you to stop flying your American flags. Please keep flying them. It helps us to determine who's racist and who's not. They help us know who to avoid. Otherwise, we would possibly interact with you. Thanks," the group said. Melody, that is absolutely causing dissension beyond words, is it not?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
The BLM has always been a farce, and now it's getting in your face. And now we have homosexuals saying in choirs and on the internet that we want your children. This is causing division, my friends. This is doing it on purpose, and this division will divide a country. When a country is divided, the economics alone are unstable, not to mention all of society. But now's your time to act while you have a chance to do what you can do to protect yourself in every way you possibly can. All I can say is call Melody, folks. 800-375-4188 and talk to her. Ask what she can do. And I'll wrap with you Monday.
Yes, we'll be back on Monday. We're out of time right now. I want everyone to have a safe weekend. So until Monday, good night and God bless.
All night I work all day to pay the bills I have to pay. Ain't it sad? And still there never seems to be a single penny left for me. That's too bad. In my dreams, I have a plan. If I could be a well-being man, I would not do all I do.
And it was a counterfeit poisonous pill.
Web administration and go door to door and start knocking about this. So stop trying to make it, hey, it's a red state, blue state thing. No, it's about personal responsibility, personal choice. They get to make those decisions. Just provide us the information. And Dr. Fauci, it's time for you to go. We'll be back with the Brian Kilmeade Show.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors. Past results do not guarantee future performance.
Traders, listen up. As life in America starts to return to normal, are you looking for the best trading opportunities? With the current real estate market, the rise of crypto, and the volatility of tech stocks, it's virtually impossible to guess what will happen next. With VantagePoint, you don't have to. Text the word DEMO to 813-813 to learn how our technology analyzes over 1 million data points per day. Text the word DEMO to 813-813 so you can learn how to predict market trends up to 3 days in advance with incredible accuracy. Whether you're trading stocks, options, Forex, futures, or crypto, VantagePoint's patented artificial intelligence can give you a massive edge. Text DEMO to 813-813 to find out how to maximize your gains. Text the word DEMO to 813-813 to learn how to use the volatility to your advantage. Don't wait. Text DEMO to 813-813 now.
By texting in, you consent to receive calls, voice, and text messages using automated technology regarding offers by or on behalf of VantagePoint.
Hot summer weather is here, so don't take chances with your family's comfort. Keep your heating and air system operating at peak efficiency and reduce the need for costly repairs with regular maintenance visits from Newcomb & Company. Receive $50 off your service fee when you purchase a comfort contract from Newcomb & Company. Newcomb & Company price dealer. Turn to the experts at Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business. NewcombandCompany.com.
It's hard taking care of a parent with dementia.
Did you know that studies have shown that certain bacteria that cause gum disease can contribute to your chances of developing the illness? Prevention starts early. Using microscopic analysis, Dr. Singletary, North Raleigh Periodontics, is able to identify what type of bacteria may be living in your mouth, and then he'll form a comfortable, non-invasive treatment plan to kill those bugs and protect your future health.
I'm Dr. Macon Singletary. Find True North Periodontics at NorthRaleighPerio.com.
FM 98.5, AM 680, WPTF, Raleigh, Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill. A Curtis Media Group station, news, talk, traffic.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Facet Wealth.
I'm Steve Kathan. It's the summer of sticker shock.
Just the sign of the times. Prices go up, gas goes up, groceries go up.
Prices rising on a lot of things, and today the government said the June jump in consumer prices of nearly a full percentage point was the largest since 2008. CBS's Sarah Ewald-Weiss.
Consumer prices are up 5.4% from 1 year ago, their largest yearly increase since 2008. The price of used cars and trucks helped drive that rise, up 10.5% in June and 45% over the past year. Airline fares were also up 2.7% in June as more people are traveling this summer.
Well, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott says when Democratic lawmakers return to the state, he'll call on them to be arrested. Retta Bowers and several dozen others went to Washington yesterday voting new election laws.
Texas Democrats will use everything in our power to fight back. But we need Congress to act now.
The FDA is warning about a possible rare side effect of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. CBS's Dr. David Agus says around 100 people have suffered a nerve disorder.
The risk of complications from the virus is dramatically high. The risk of complications from the vaccine is extremely rare. We have to be vaccinated and be aware of any complications so we can treat early, but we have to be vaccinated. It is 1 in a million, these complications.
The firefight is intense in 7 western states with some 50 large fires burning. CBS's Lilia Luciano is covering one near Yosemite National Park.
More than 1,000 firefighters have been actively and aggressively fighting this blaze despite working in temperatures well above 100 degrees. And while they've made some progress, dozens of fires raging throughout the West is a sign that we are on for a dangerous and active fire season.
Baltimore police say 2 city officers were shot and wounded this morning and a suspect killed. The confrontation happened in a mall parking lot as marshals served a warrant. U.S. News and World Report says the best place to live in the U.S. is Boulder, Colorado.
Boulder's job market is extremely strong, and on top of that, it's just one of those places people love the idea of being able to get outdoors and things like that.
Devin Thorsby is the magazine's real estate editor. Second on the list, the Raleigh-Durham area of North Carolina. Checking Wall Street right now, the Dow is down 85 points. NASDAQ is up 41. This is CBS News.
Facet Wealth, personalized and affordable financial planning for everyday Americans. No wealth or asset minimums. Quality financial advice for every stage of...
In the WPTF News Center, I'm Josh Zach. They don't yet know how it started, and they also don't yet know when it will be out. But a fire continues to burn in North Raleigh at a recycling facility and landfill on Gresham Lake Road. Fire itself did not appear to be a threat to nearby homes and apartments. Animal control officers responding this morning to a report of a bear at Rex Hospital. Multiple employees and visitors spotted what appeared to be a baby black bear in the trees outside of the hospital on Lake Boone Trail in Raleigh before 9 this morning. Animal control working to corral the animal. We will have reports on the outcome as soon as we know. First, it was cobras in Raleigh. Now it's wolf, German shepherd hybrids on the loose in Orange County. Officials say 12 dogs escaped from an enclosure last week in the Cedar Grove area. 8 of the animals have safely been reallocated, but 4 remain on the loose. Officials say there are no reports of the dogs hurting or attacking anyone, persons, animals, or livestock, but they could become aggressive if they're confronted by humans, so people should stay away. Raleigh Fire Station 11 on Glenridge Drive, as well as several surrounding locations, were evacuated yesterday after an abundance of caution because a resident dropped off an old military-style ordnance. Raleigh police say its hazardous device unit received assistance from Fort Bragg in examining and securing the device, which was then taken to a facility in Durham to be disposed of. Meanwhile, those who live here already know that it's an otherwise pretty nice place to live. Now the rest of the U.S. and world know it as well.
U.S. News and World Report says the best place to live in the U.S. is Boulder, Colorado, because of high quality of life, good job market, and desirability. The magazine also took into account how places dealt with the pandemic. Raleigh and Durham, North Carolina, moving up to number 2. Huntsville, Alabama, Fayetteville, Arkansas, and Austin, Texas round out the top 5. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Other North Carolina cities making the list were Charlotte, Winston-Salem, Asheville, Hickory, Greensboro, and Fayetteville. The forecast today, sun mixing with some clouds. We'll get up to a high around 90. In the WPTF News Center, I'm Josh Zach.
Hurry up and close, garage door. I have to protect my shine.
I'm already closed.
Wait a second. I didn't even hear you.
Custom Door and Gate was just here. I got a full service, complete lube, and a set of new nylon rollers.
You sound like a brand new garage door.
I'm up and down without a sound. Smooth.
Visit CustomDoorandGate.com to visualize your custom garage door today. An authorized master Clopay dealer. Custom Door and Gate. For a garage door you'll adore.
This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
From the Fox News radio studios in New York City, information you want, truth you demand. It's Brian Kilmeade.
Hey, this is Jason Chaffetz. I'm filling in for Brian Kilmeade. You can go to the BrianKilmeadeShow.com. That's the website. But I'm honored and privileged to fill in for Brian. They're one of the hardest working, the hardest working person at Fox between all the different things and shows and specials that he does. It's great. Very nice of him to allow me and entrust me with filling in for him. We got a great hour. Lots to talk about. And I want to get after and start talking about Hunter Biden, and there's probably nobody better to talk about the Biden family business, and certainly Hunter Biden, than our guest here, Peter Schweizer. Peter Schweitzer is just, he is the president of the Government Accountability Institute. I'm doing some work with the Government Accountability Institute, and I tell you, he is just, when he did the Clinton Cash book and these other books, just fascinating, deep dives, factually based. Peter, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today on the Brian Kilmeade Show.
Oh, it's great to be with you, Jason. Thanks for having me, and I'm glad we're compatriots in arms in fighting corruption wherever we find it.
Yeah, you know, that's what it's all about openness, about transparency, about giving the American people the information you need. And, you know, I was the chairman of the Oversight Committee. Now the Government Accountability Institute is doing a lot of this work and digging through the public files to get this information. But you know, and there's also a podcast that you're involved and engaged with, the Drill Down, where you can dive even deeper into these issues. I encourage people to have a listen to that. But let's talk about some of the latest findings that you have about Hunter Biden. And, you know, I want you to listen, Peter, to what Joe Biden has said time and time again about the fact that, hey, I've never had a conversation with my son Hunter about any of his business dealings.
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their businesses, period.
So, Peter, what's your take on that? I don't believe it.
Well, we have now the Hunter Biden emails that show that is categorically not true and false on a number of levels. And let me just say, Jason, stepping back, we have the access to the Hunter Biden laptop, and we took a very skeptical view. We didn't accept it on face value. What we did was we took the Hunter Biden emails, we compared them with stuff that we already knew. So we have access to the Secret Service travel records of Hunter Biden that showed where he went and when he went with Secret Service protection. And we looked at the Hunter Biden emails and said, when the emails say he's going to be in Dubai next week, do the Secret Service travel records indicate that he was? Absolutely 100%. They line up perfectly. We took the Hunter Biden emails and then we compared them to the Bevan Cooney emails. Bevan Cooney, a Hunter Biden business partner, he granted us access to his Gmail account. So we literally go into his Gmail account and we see that there are emails between Hunter Biden and Bevan Cooney, quite a few. Now we look at the collection we know is accurate, the Gmail account that we go into and look at and compare it with the Hunter Biden emails. Again, it matches 100%. So the emails themselves, Hunter Biden has not denied their authenticity, speak to the fact that there was a detailed, organized effort by Hunter Biden and his business partners to use access to the White House for their commercial benefit. We know also that Joe Biden, as Vice President of the United States, was regularly meeting with either existing business partners or prospective business partners that they were seeking out and trying to recruit. Some of these were actually off-the-book meetings. In other words, the meetings don't appear in the White House visitor logs, but when you go back and look at the Chinese officials in question, for example, they are actually talking in Chinese language media on blogs about how they met the Vice President of the United States, Joe Biden, in the White House. So that denial is categorically false, 100% on the correspondence that Hunter Biden himself has in the email collection.
Now, the other question about this is, Joe Biden, on the one hand, during a political campaign, is lying, I believe, my personal take on it, about did he or did he not have discussions with Hunter Biden. But this becomes, I think, even much more relevant when you start to look at all the different assets that are taxpayer funded, whether it be Air Force 2 or the residence there, the Naval Observatory, when he was the Vice President of the United States. These things become even more relevant because of the powerful political position that Joe Biden had. And the question becomes, was there a direct financial benefit to Jill Biden and to Joe Biden by the actions of what Hunter Biden was doing?
Yes, and I say that on two levels, Jason. The first level is there are numerous emails, but I point to one in particular where Hunter Biden is writing to the grandson of the former president of Mexico. And he's quite angry in the email where he's sort of going on the tirade against this guy. And what he's saying is, I gave you everything you asked for. I got you into the vice president's residence. I got you meetings in the White House. I got you high-level access. And then I'm not going to use the exact language he used, but then he sort of curses him out and says, now where are those deals that I was promised? So the email is explicit in that there's a quid pro quo. I'm going to give you access to the people in my father's administration in exchange for deals. On the second level, what you find in emails is that there's an intermingling of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden's finances. Hunter Biden complains about it. He says, to his daughter at one point, I'm paying all the bills in the family, including half of the bills for mom and pop, meaning his mother and his father. And there's actually evidence of that. We're going through all 30,000 Hunter Biden emails. We're going through and looking at the bill paying, which, as you can imagine, is pretty tedious. But what you find is there are bills there that are Joe Biden's bills that are being paid by Hunter Biden. that is not only unethical, it's actually not legal. It's pretty clear that, family members and politicians can give gifts, they can buy them presents, that sort of thing.
Sure.
They cannot pay their bills, and as you know, they cannot pay their bills, and that is what was going on. So it's very clear that the financial benefits that Hunter Biden gets from these foreign entities accrue to the benefit of his father because he's paying his father's bills while he's vice president of the United States.
And it needs to be disclosed. And not only do I believe that that's illegal, but there are financial disclosures if you get some remuneration outside of the compensation that you get for being vice president, correct?
Correct, exactly. And remember, you can only accept, I think it's, $15,000 now in gifts, tax-free from somebody. The IRS, if you get more gifts than that, the IRS is going to charge a gift tax. So the question is, did Joe Biden claim on his taxes with the IRS that he received these gifts from his son? And I would imagine the fact that he hasn't disclosed them or discussed them, I imagine he did not disclose those gifts to the IRS, which means you've got a tax issue now as well.
These are very serious situations. I remember when the Democrats were yelling, emoluments clause, when President Trump was in office. They wanted to see every transaction at every Trump hotel around the world, because if somebody bought a Diet Coke out of their minibar, that might be a foreign government trying to use influence. And yet now you have some very direct evidence, email evidence, other transactions out there. You have travel logs. You have Air Force 2 that's being used. You have the vice president's residence being used. Have somebody who was the former chairman of the Oversight Committee. It is absolutely unbelievable, the lack of intellectual curiosity by the national media and the fact that Congress is doing nothing on this. Republicans, my take on it, my personal take, is they are pathetic in terms of rallying behind, because I tell you what, every single Democrat was pounding on Donald Trump on this issue. They went through an exhaustive review of what was going on. Was there influence peddling, of which Mr. Mueller found nothing, in essence. And you had Democrat after Democrat, and yet I find that most people, public policy officials, they're almost oblivious to this story. They say, oh, yeah, Hunter Biden, it's kind of a joke. Let's talk about, some other things. But I just don't see the outrage, and I see such a double standard on how they're trying and not trying to hold them accountable.
No, I agree with you, Jason. And here's the point. I mean, I'm very familiar with your terrific career in Congress, and we're working together now. I mean, the bottom line is neither you nor I are saying that you're going to, that you bring up false charges. The question is, should Congress be holding hearings to figure out exactly what was going on? You should ask questions of people because the American people have a right to know. You're talking about foreign oligarchs. One of the things we're doing in the research, Jason, is we're going through all the emails. There's going to be a lot more shoes to drop in terms of where exactly this money was coming from. But since when is it illegitimate for Congress to simply ask questions about what was the financial relationship? There are these bills that are being paid that say JRB for Joseph Robinette Biden. It's the only Biden family member with those initials. Explain this. And yet, I think you're exactly right. Congress, Republicans included, don't seem to want to go there. My sense, however, though, is, Jason, is outside of Washington, D.C., people are very concerned about these issues because they want to make sure that their represented officials are actually representing them and not representing some foreign entity.
Yeah, and when you have a plane that's funded by the taxpayers called Air Force 2, which doesn't get any more prestigious than that other than maybe Air Force 1, Air Force 2 is taking off, and you have Hunter Biden on the plane with his business associate, Jeff Cooper, flying at taxpayers' expense to go down to Mexico. And then you have these deals happening, and you have pictures at the Naval Observatory with Carlos Slim and some of these other, people from Mexico. And then you compare that to the email traffic about, hey, where's my money? How can people not ask that question?
It's indicative, I think, of a culture in Washington, D.C. That has become far too accepting, I think, of corruption. I think there's obviously politics at play. Democrats don't want to go there because they've got their political interests at stake. But I think in general, what has become acceptable in Washington, D.C. is not acceptable anywhere else. It's the old saying that when you get to Washington, D.C., it's like a cesspool, but you stay there long enough and it feels like a hot tub. And my fear is that we have too many elected officials, whether they themselves want to partake in it or have partaken in it, or whether it's just as simply that they accept it, that this is the way it's going to be done. But to me, this goes to the core function of government, which is a representative form of government. And our representatives should be representing us, their constituents. That's where their interests should align and should ally. And the problem here, Jason, is we're not dealing with, some, paving contractor back in some congressman's home district. We're dealing with foreign governments and foreign oligarchs, some of which have ties to foreign intelligence services, have corruption charges that they're facing. These are the individuals in which the Biden family is doing business.
Well, and this is the rub. Look, they put Donald Trump Jr. on the cover of Time magazine for an innocuous 20-minute meeting with somebody he had never met before. And yet you have all of this evidence. Where's Time magazine? Where are the others now? It's a deep question. Peter Schweitzer is diving deeper than anybody else out there. I appreciate you joining us on the Brian Kilmeade Show today. There's a lot more to come on this story, and I know you'll be at the forefront of it. This is the Brian Kilmeade Show. We'll be back real soon.
Coming to you on a need-to-know basis because, man, do you need to know. You're with Brian Kilmeade.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save the typical family $500 a month. And that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. MediShare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
Looking for a way to pay for that new home improvement you've been waiting for? Ready to consolidate credit card debt at a lower interest rate? Figure offers multiple loan options that can help you improve your finances. From mortgage refinances to home equity lines and personal loans, Figure can help you find the loan that's right for you. Figure takes all the stress and hassle out of the process. Apply 100% online at Figure.com and see your new rate in a few clicks. Figure out your finances at Figure.com. Figure Lending LLC. Equal Opportunity Lender. MLS 1717224. Terms and conditions apply.
Mike, I understand you need the part.
Carly's Car Shop demands more engine fixing horsepower. They need to floor it to find their staff some backup.
We need to finish up that coupe today. It cannot be here for another 2 weeks.
Indeed can help them hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that the Habitat for Humanity restores take small donations like decor, home goods, books, dishes, and more? As you use these months to clean out your closets, donate your gently used items to the restores. Help divert usable items from the landfill while helping a neighbor purchase an affordable home. Drop off at any of the 10 convenient locations in Wake, Durham, Orange, and Johnston counties. Donations are tax deductible and free pickup is available for larger items. Visit trianglerestores.org.
Together we build.
The Brian Kilmeade Show is built locally by Pioneer Exteriors. Buy local
or sell on Writer Than You.
All right, Bill, let's continue our QB conversation from last segment, shall we? Denver linebacker Von Miller recently told NFL Network that he's let his mind wander on the possibility of future Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers ending up with the Broncos.
All at the same time.
That's beautiful, Frank. That is truly beautiful, and it's a miracle of God's grace, isn't it? The power of Catholic
landscape and possible economic changes, you need comprehensive financial planning, not just money management. As fiduciaries, we are required to place our clients' interests above our own. Our clients receive reports every month, not only on their investments, but also on their taxes, their estate, and retirement pictures. Call us at 919-872-7000. That's 919-872-7000 for your appointment, or go to DougandLinda.com.
Hyde Park Bar and Grill is the place to be for lunch or dinner, featuring daily food and drink specials, including fried chicken, prime rib, and their $6 burger on Fridays. Come enjoy delicious food in a healthy, safe environment. Since 1999, HydeParkBarandGrill.com.
This is a big deal. Now, at healthcare.gov, millions more people can afford health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as August 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
NASCAR legend Richard Petty on why he got his shot.
Talked to my doctor, and he said he would highly recommend that I go ahead and get a shot. You're not only helping yourself, you're helping your neighbors also. Might have been a little bit hesitant to begin with, but after looking at all the statistics, and I don't see anything after you take the shot, everybody seems to get along with it pretty good. So you have a spot. Take your shot.
Everyone from teens to seniors can get a COVID-19 vaccine. Find your appointment today. Visit myspot.nc.gov.
It's the latest when you need it, on demand from Fox News and Amazon Alexa. Fastest 3 hours in radio. You're with Brian Kilmeade.
The Trump administration passed many more regulations, many more sanctions against it, which basically has cut off all income coming into Cuba.
In this White House statement today, you note the, quote, tragic grip of the pandemic, but under current U.S. sanctions that were put in place by the last administration, but have not been changed by this administration, Cuban exiles cannot send remittances to their families that live in Cuba.
Why hasn't President Biden taken steps to undo some of the things that his predecessor, Donald Trump, did to overturn the overtures made by President Obama?
Well, that's a montage of people from CBS This Morning, CNN, an Associated Press reporter, and MSNBC contributor. A little bit of Trump derangement syndrome, wondering why these protests are happening there in Cuba. Of course, it must be Donald Trump's fault. But you know what? Who better to maybe listen to what the people of Cuba really want and what they're seeking than Representative Carlos Jimenez? He's a Republican from Florida. Listen to his take. He immigrated from Cuba back in 1960.
The people of Cuba want their freedom. They want freedom to speak freely. They want freedom of the press. They want free and democratic elections. They want basic human rights, which have been denied to them for 60 years. And so what you're seeing now is the young people that have actually grown up in the system have figured out, hey, this system doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for anybody. It has never worked for anybody, and we want freedom. The Cuban government cannot pay their bills, and they haven't been able to pay their bills for years. So credit is being denied to them. That's why the shortages they have in food and medicines and all that, all because of the failed economic policies of communism. And let's call it what it is.
It is. It's communism. It's a socialist agenda that says the government should just take care of everything. That you get a ration card, and that ration card can be used to get the food that you need. That you have to do exactly what the government says at all times. This is the destructive policies that are communism and socialism. And I tell you, I think the Cuban people, the young people that are growing up in Cuba, recognize that less than 100 miles to the north, they have more freedom. They have more opportunity. And so why is it a mystery to the press corps at the White House that maybe the people of Cuba, they want freedom, they want liberty, they want self-determination, they want to be able to have the basic human right to actually decide for themselves how they want to live their lives. That's what the Cuba people are seeking, and I hope America stands tall, stands with the people of Cuba, and supports the idea that liberty and freedom will always prevail. This is the Brian Kilmeade Show. We'll be right back.
In the WPTF News Center, I'm Josh Zach. Raleigh police are at the Wegmans location right now on Waketown Drive. That's off Wake Forest Road near the Beltline to investigate a suspicious item found in a parking garage within the last hour. A CBS 17 photographer at the scene capturing a picture of the object that they say appears to be a pink suitcase with blood near it. Officers are at the scene investigating the item right now. A few miles away, animal control officers are at the Rex Hospital on Lake Boone Trail to corral a black bear cub that is up a tree. Police have roped off the area while the animal control does its work to get the bear down safely from the tree near the parking deck. Up in Orange County, photos are coming in from residents online who spotted a pack of dogs that could be the rest of that Wolf German Shepherd hybrid pack that escaped from an enclosure last week in the Cedar Grove area. 8 of the animals were safely recaptured, but 4 remain on the loose. We're trying to find out right now where those pictures were taken.
CBS News Brief. The government says consumer prices soared in June by the most in 13 years and are up 5.4% over the past year. CBS's Jill Schlesinger.
It's the highest 12-month rate since August of 2008. That was when crude oil was spiking.
Texas Democrats who fled the state to prevent GOP lawmakers from passing election laws are in D.C. calling for federal action.
We can't stay here indefinitely. That's why we need Congress to act now and pass the For the People Act.
CBS's Dr. David Agus says the government was right to warn about a possible rare side effect from the J&J one-shot vaccine, but
you can get Guillain-Barré with COVID-19, and we see it much more frequently than with the vaccine.
U.S. News and World Report's Devin Thorsby says Boulder, Colorado tops their best list.
Boulder has kind of a natural ability to attract a lot of people who want to move to the area.
CBS News Brief. I'm Steve Kathan.
Here's your exclusive WPTF AccuWeather forecast.
Sunshine mixing with some clouds today. We'll have a high around 90. Partly cloudy, warm and humid, low 73 tonight. Partly sunny, high 92 tomorrow. Intervals of clouds and sunshine with a high again of 92 Thursday. Clouds and sun with an afternoon thunderstorm around for Friday and Saturday. Highs near 90. I'm AccuWeather's Heather Zare on the Triangle Severe Weather Station, WPTF.
It's hard taking care of a parent with dementia. Did you know that studies have shown that certain bacteria that cause gum disease can contribute to your chances of developing the illness? Prevention starts early. Using microscopic analysis, Dr. Singletary, North Raleigh Periodontics, is able to identify what type of bacteria may be living in your mouth and then he'll form a comfortable, non-invasive treatment plan to kill those bugs and protect your future health.
I'm Dr. Macon Singletary. Find your true north of periodontics at northraleighperio.com.
Are you unhappy with your CPAP provider? This is Megan Giggling from Parkway Sleep Health Centers in Cary. If you're ready for a change, give us a call or go online to parkwaysleep.com. Our CPAP specialists have a streamlined process to make your experience as simple as possible. We can ship all supplies directly to you and may even save you money in the process. Check us out online at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
NC Green Power is a nonprofit promoting a cleaner energy future through its Solar Plus Schools grant program. Recipient schools receive a 5-kilowatt solar array with a weather station, a STEM curriculum, and training for teachers. Having already impacted 42 schools throughout our state, they hope to award at least one school in all 100 counties. You can help make this possible by supporting Solar Plus Schools today. Visit ncgreenpower.org